I've always wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be in law enforcement. However, my mom had a different view. She thought being a cop is dangerous. But I still wanted to pursue my dream. So the odds are stacked against me. You know, 40-something, going to go through the academy. You kidding me?
You know that feeling when a dream just won't let you go? My friend Ted does. As a son of an immigrant, his parents had clear ideas of success, sitting in an office, wearing a suit. And like any good immigrant son, Ted followed that path. But he had a dream too. And like so many good dreams, it was one that never faded away. So, what happens when a dream refuses to die? Do you follow it and shake up the life you built? Or do you ignore it until hopefully it goes away? Today we'll talk to Ted, a 50-something-year-old who chose to go after his dream of becoming a cop. Yup, this is a real-life rookie story. Now, what made this the perfect timing? And what can his midlife career change teach us about trusting God's timing in our own lives? I'm Aliu Garcia Pablo, and you're listening to Making Changes, a podcast about changes we go through and the life lessons we learn along the way, but always with God by our side. Hey, Ted.
Hey, Lee.
Welcome to Making Changes.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You know, when we were putting this season together and it was about making changes, you were one of the first people that popped in my head, because when I found out that at, almost 50 that you decided to change careers and be a cop, I was like, I have so many questions for Ted. So I don't know if you remember, but when the last time I saw you a while back, and I was like, you became a cop? Because my parents had told me, and I couldn't believe it. And so I was like, is it true you became a cop? And
that is true.
That's true. Yeah. So I have so many questions. So first of all, this whole cop thing, how long have you, I heard from our pre-interview from our producer that it's kind of been like your childhood dream. Is that
true? As far as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be in law enforcement. However, my mom had a different view. She thought being a cop is dangerous, right? No mother wants their child to be out there in danger. So she said, no, I don't want you to be a cop. I wanted to be in the military too, but she said no.
How old were you when you first verbalized to your parents, I want to be a cop, Mom?
12 maybe?
12, yeah. What was it about being a cop though? Is it just from watching Chips or?
It's part of it maybe. But it's I like guns.
Oh, okay.
Growing up since I was a kid, a little boy.
A real boy. Uh-huh.
But eventually that turned into understanding what, police does and law enforcement and helping people, providing protection, things like that. But my mom didn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
Instead, she wants me to go to school and do other things.
So what was your mom's dream for you?
Just go to school, get a regular job, 9 to 5, have a family, things like that. Something quiet, peaceful.
And steady and stable.
Yeah. I wanted something else. I wanted to do something more daring, I suppose. But
adventurous?
Yeah. I just couldn't see myself just sitting in an office, wearing a suit and tie. But exactly, that's what ended up happening.
Yeah. So I was thinking back when we first met, and I remember, we just heard in Redwood City, in our local congregation in Redwood City, oh, there's this guy, Ted. He just moved from New York. New Yorker, you had your big hefty Mustang, and you were a stockbroker.
Yeah.
And everyone just said, oh, he's a successful guy. At such a young age, you're a stockbroker, you had your own place from New York to the Bay Area. And from the outside, that's what we saw. Right?
That's true.
And so how did you end up from, wanting to be law enforcement and then, listening to your parents, your mom, and then you went down the path of finance?
I followed my parents. They said, hey, go to school, do something with your life. So I did. It started out, I remember, I think I was in my third year, summertime. My parents asked me, hey, do something, get out, go find a job. So I did. And I remember putting a resume together, and back then I didn't use emails, didn't have emails.
No, not in the 90s.
So
well, it was just starting.
Yeah,
Emails were just starting.
You're right. I remember printing about 25 to 30 resumes. And I walked up and down Wall Street, all the investment houses.
Door to door.
Literally, right? And first week came, no phone call. Second week, I was like, nobody wants me, right? And then there's one sales manager from an investment banking firm called me and said, hey, I got your resume. Why don't you come in?
So what did you go to school for? What was your
Finance.
undergrad? Okay. So
right?
it was,
first 2 years was criminal justice, and then I switched.
the first 2 years was criminal. So you really, like, that whole law enforcement thing was really still within you.
Yep, but my parents said no. My mom said so. So I switched. But so I went, door to door, got my resume out there. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the sales manager. So interviewed me. I got the job, but before we ended the interview, he said, "Did you realize that you put your phone number is wrong? I had to look you up." I was like, "What do you mean?" So I looked at the resume. I must have put a wrong number.
You put your own wrong phone number.
That's why nobody called for 2 weeks. I was like,
how did that happen? You forgot your phone number. Okay.
I made a mistake, and so I started with this company, D.H. Blair. That was an investment banking firm, and that's how my career started. I was taken in by a sales manager. I mean, that's where I ended up learning the ropes as far as being in finance.
Yeah.
On the sales side.
But I want to go back to your parents. So now you're working Wall Street. Would that be accurate? Were you working Wall Street, stockbroker? Your parents must have been really happy.
Yeah. They were very happy.
Yeah.
I made it on my own. I left home when I was about 20, turning 21. I had my own place. And then I went through the whole gamut of starting from the bottom, working my way up, helping my parents, buying them their, I bought them a car, one of the things I wanted to do for them. But eventually I ended up in California.
Your parents are immigrants.
Yes.
Right? Came from the Philippines to New York when they were, did they have you guys already? Or
yeah.
Were they...
It was just me and my mom. So we started out together. We immigrated to the United States. This was in early 80s, late 70s. But at that point, my mom always worked.
What kind of job did your mom have?
She was a teacher.
She was a teacher.
Right. So so for the most part, I would just be at home by myself.
Latchkey kid. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I would wake up, she's already gone. She already went to work. And then she would come home and I would be asleep. So there was a lot of prayers. She prayed a lot and made sure that she taught me the value of prayer and trusting everything into God. Yeah. And that's why when I told her I want to be a cop, she goes, "What? That's not going to happen."
Yeah, because she was always worried for your safety. So I think, you and I are both, come from immigrant families, right? And so our parents' generation, there's really no such thing as dreams, right? It was more about stability, being able to provide. Never mind what you want to dream. Just make sure you're stable and you have means of living. So, obviously the whole safety thing, you can't blame a mom. I would feel the same. But do you think for you and your brother growing up, was there any talk of pursuing a passion, any of that?
No, not at all. Yeah. I understand your question, but what I remember is just get an education, get a job. So long as you're getting a paycheck, that was it. Nothing really. She really didn't talk about what are your passions. well, what's your lifelong
What's your
dream?
interests?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like, get a job, get a paycheck. You know, it's like the day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
I guess that's a mentality of our parents, their generation, where they came from. I guess life is a lot harder.
Yeah.
So they get here to a new country, and for them, and with all these opportunities, and they just want to grab something solid and lay down foundation. Her dream was to be here. And
she achieved it.
She did, you know. And again, it's all through God's grace. We were blessed. Growing up, I remember we didn't have much, right? But whatever we had, we celebrated. As an immigrant child, and she asked me what I wanted for I think that was my 10th birthday. So what do you want for a birthday? So, and for a 10-year-old, you know, I don't know why, but I just wanted a bucket of chicken. That's all I wanted. And she gave it to me.
As I'm watching you tell this story, it's like the memory, you know, is very vivid in your mind, and I saw you smile. Why is that such a core memory for you? It's a bucket of chicken, Ted.
Yeah. I guess at that age, I knew we didn't have much, right? And I just couldn't bring it up to tell my mom, you know, I want a Nintendo, or I want an Atari or something, a game. I knew she couldn't afford it, but I knew she still wanted to provide something that I would enjoy. I like food. That time I loved chicken. So she, we walked down to Safeway and we bought a bucket of chicken.
Your mom really, I think you really hit a really important point there. Her dream was to make it to America. Anything else after that didn't matter because she had already achieved it. And so I'm sure for her, raising you, she's like, wait, you're already in America. What other dreams are there?
Right. To a certain extent, you know, I know she did her best, right? She wanted to provide things for me. And I'll never forget this. We settled in an apartment walking distance from Long Island City, which is
the chapel.
The chapel. And I said, hey, because I didn't drive. I was still young. But she found an apartment close to the chapel. One of the things that she would always tell me is like, hey, if you need something, just go to the chapel. If you're afraid, you know, because I'm not around, just go to the chapel, right? The minister's always there, or the caretaker's always there. So whatever you need, just go there. And so that's the reason why I picked, when I moved to Redwood, my apartment. I remember.
It was on what side?
It was so close.
It was literally like a 2-minute drive from the chapel.
Right.
Wow.
Right, like 5 minutes away from the chapel. I've always wanted to be close to a chapel. And that's what I learned from my mom. It brings me comfort that if I ever need anything, chapel's there.
What are the values did that instill in you growing up?
Trusting everything to God. Because even now, when I left, I was 40 when I basically retired from finance. And I helped out my wife. She's a dentist. But I still wanted to pursue my dream. So the odds are stacked against me. You know, 40-something, gonna go through the academy. You kidding me?
Did you know you can find the Iglesia Cristo in over 166 countries and territories? So if you're like Ted and you want to move closer to a place of worship, all you have to do is visit iglesiadecristo.net and search for the house of worship near you.
A couple of my friends that are a cop, they're like, you know what? If you want to do it, you got to do it now because you're not getting any younger. So I did. So my journey in law enforcement, I started about 3 years ago.
You were how old? 47?
Yeah.
By then?
Yeah.
Because
So
now you're 50. We're in our 50s, Ted.
I know, right?
We're in our
Can you believe
golden years, Ted. Oh, my goodness. But let me go back a little bit before you go into your journey about into law enforcement. So when you got married to Lovely, did she know that you've always had this dream?
No.
You never even told her?
No. Well, maybe I did, but We
The
didn't
fact that
really,
you don't remember probably means you
we
didn't
didn't
tell
talk
her.
about it.
Okay.
And I don't recall bringing it up to her. For all intents and purposes, I already have what most men would want in their life: stability, family, wife, kids, a family business that I could just stay
Successful
in
family
and
business.
still do well.
Yeah.
So when I told her that, hey, I want to pursue law enforcement, first, I could see her eyebrows just went up. It's like, what? And I was like, oh man, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it was a tough conversation.
Yeah.
She didn't see the need. For her, it's like, you're going to leave me by myself at the office? You're going to go do your own thing instead of... So it just, it was a difficult conversation. It took a while for it to sink in. But by the time I wanted to, really start the program, she saw my passion. She basically said, okay. She agreed to it.
Why did you feel the need to pivot and to make that change in your life at 40-ish?
I know.
Like, why do you think it never left you?
It's so odd to see feeling helpless, not being able to... There's so many things that goes on. You step out of the house, look at the news, call it injustice or whatever, right? I guess I just wanted to do my part to somehow make it right. I don't want to politicize anything, but there's so many things that I see that doesn't make sense, right? A criminal can walk into a store, just grab everything and walk out and not
no
supposed to
one
do
can
anything.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So that was happening. And I was just like, what?
So you mentioned earlier you wanted, when you were 12 or so, you wanted to be a cop because there was something about being a hero and superhero, right? That of course, that's what a lot of boys think about, capes and all of that. But now you're in your 40-ish age, and now it's a different type of intention. There's a different perspective on why you would want to make this career change. It's making a difference now.
Yeah, it's when you're younger, when you're a lot younger, you think you're invincible.
Yeah.
Right? You think you're Superman. You think you can do anything. Then as you get older, you get wiser. All right, maybe there's other means or other ways to be effective or to make a change.
So now you have this hard conversation with your wife. I mean, I'm sure when she's telling you, speaking on behalf of, your family, I'm sure doubt crept in. Like, do I really want to do this? Is this really the right decision? Or you tell me, what kind of thoughts and doubts crept in to you, that internal tug of war on really deciding? Because that one decision isn't just going to affect you now. It's different from when you were single. Now you have 2 kids, right? It's like 3 other people that this simple but big decision would make.
Yeah, when I came to that point, the first thing that popped in my head is, hey, you know what? Go seek help. And what I learned growing up is, if you need help, talk to a minister. And at that time, I talked to a resident minister. I asked him, or I told him, these are my plans for, what do you think? He thought about it. He looked at me. He's like, you really want to do that? Then
he said the same thing that your wife said.
But eventually he said, if you're not violating any doctrine, and if you think that this is, something that you were paid for, I think you could be of help to the administration someday. So go for it. Okay. So I got the green light. I went for it. I continued my devotional prayer.
What did you say in your prayers, if you don't mind me asking? I know it's kind of intimate, but I'm just curious, like, what were those conversations with you and God like?
Just let His will be done. I never dictate anything. It's part of trusting Him is just laying it out there. Let Him guide me as far as making the right decisions. Like finding a good wife, you pray for it. But as far as career-wise, I've always entrusted everything into him. Even my move to California, I just left it up to him. Wherever I landed, you know, I didn't know anybody here, right? But the point is, I've always just left it up to him, made the decision. You know, whatever you decide, I'll follow.
Even though you were ready that even if maybe the answer was no?
Yeah.
And, but it's something you'd been holding on for so long.
You know, when I got through the academy and I told management that, because as a rookie, they'll put you anywhere. And I told them, I said, hey, I have worship service on Thursday nights and Saturdays. I need these days free for me to worship. And it's no negotiation. I told him straight up, I said, you know, if you're not going to give it to me, I walk.
This is after the academy or during?
This was after the academy. Even during the academy, I told my chief, I said, hey, you know, you need to be able to release me and go to worship service. Our academy is in Atlanta.
Oh, so you had to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
How long was that? How long was the whole training?
Tactical thing was about a month.
So, okay, I have to ask only because we're 80s kids, right? Like, police academy. Is it anything like the movies?
No. But it's a good question.
You're the only person I know who's ever been to the police academy. So I know it's just a movie. But so it only takes a month?
No. The whole program was 6 months.
6 months. And what do you learn? You learn how to shoot guns?
So the tactical portion was, you know, they sent us to, so I did the BLAC, the basic law enforcement, also the federal law enforcement training. The whole thing, it's the actual training bit and the academics about 6 months, and then another 6 months field training. I
mean, just being real, Ted, okay, so I told you that in preparation for this interview, I watched The Rookie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, all of my references are pop culture. I watched The Rookie. Okay, so it's a TV show. And, you know, he's very similar to kind of your journey in the sense that he decided to be a police officer kind of, you know, in his 40s, later in life. And he kind of, you know, physically, he wasn't able to run as fast as the younger cops. They would make fun of him. He couldn't climb you know, when they're doing a chase, couldn't climb the fence. I mean, things like that. Did you have any concerns about the physical limitations at your age joining the academy and being a cop?
Yes. Simple put, yes. One of the things that we had to do, okay, full-on gear. We have our tactical.
That's heavy, right?
Yeah, about 35 pounds.
How heavy is the bulletproof vest?
So it's a soft armor.
Oh, okay.
So with all the gear that you have, the ammo and all that, the magazines, the radio, it's about 35 pounds. Wow. And then so you have your side arm.
What did you have to do on your end just to make sure that you would be, you know, more physically fit, because you would have a disadvantage? Well, first of all, what was the average age of those at the academy that you were with?
The youngest at that class was 24. And everybody else was in their late 20s. Right? And it was me and a couple other guys were like the geriatric. Yeah. But it was funny because when it comes down to the shooting part, I actually graduated top of my class as far as
blew them away.
The shooting.
Yeah.
But there was this one kid, he's Marine. He would not give up. You know, he wanted to retry again because you get like 3 shots. I mean, 3 times to, if you wanted to do better in your qualification. I scored perfect. And he wanted to score perfect. And he just would not give up. And then we're all just looking at him like, come on, dude, just give up already. But when it comes to physical stuff, he's always first. You know, up the stairs and around, you know, doing a mile run.
Because he was a kid. He was young.
Yeah. But when it comes down to the academics part, again, me and the other older guys, we all topped our class when it comes to the
so
academics.
In a way, in hindsight, because, you know, we only think about the physical aspects of law enforcement, right? But on the other side, it actually served you better that you joined later in
The
life?
physical part is one aspect of it. I mean, the reason why I chose the Fed, because I know I'm not going to be gunning and run. Although there is still that danger aspect because we do patrols, right? But I'm not a municipal cop where I'm patrolling the streets day in, day out. Part of my job is to, protect the people, the property, and more importantly, the operations of the Federal Reserve System, where that's if you're familiar with the Federal Reserve, that's like the bank of banks.
So do you like when there's like bank robbers and stuff? Heists
So we
and
leave that
everything?
up to the FBI and we leave it
Okay.
up to Secret Service as far as counterfeits and things like that. But the operations of the Fed, that's what we're there to protect. Yeah.
So, as you're saying that, like you chose to, is that a choice, or how do you end up being part of the Fed versus municipal?
Yeah. So most people, when they think about cops, you see a guy in the street.
Yes.
But-
Eating donuts. No, I'm kidding.
But law enforcement is,
Yeah.
there's different levels, different agencies. I wanted to be able to stay close to my duty
Your duties in the church.
and not be taken away too long.
It also makes me wonder if subconsciously you're still hearing your mom's voice in your head saying it's dangerous, right? Being a police officer is dangerous. And so you picking this position, this department is, yes, it helps you to still perform your duties as a head deacon in your local congregation, but also the whole safety aspect is covered.
The risk is always there, because when you have a police sign in your back, somehow you're always a target, right? Whether you're in the hardened post or you're out in the street when you're doing patrols, there are things that is inherently dangerous when you're walking around the street, and we do that. We do patrols. You got your gear on, you're out there.
So when you, having your conversations with your wife, was that part of the deal too? Like for her to say, okay, yeah, that's fine, but, I don't want you to be, a cop that is, on the streets and you have a higher chance of being hurt.
I explained that to her. Took a while for it to sink in. Because again, you tell somebody, yeah, I'm a cop. First thing that pops in, like, guy in the street chasing bad guys. If the situation calls for us to intervene, we will. We have to. That's what we're sworn to do. If a life, if someone's life is in danger, let's say there's a shooting right in front of me, yeah, I have to
And you're
react.
off duty, but you'll
I have to react, yeah. So it's part of the
training.
the duty that I swore to uphold, right? If someone's life's in danger, then yeah, I'm obligated to step in.
You're 3 years into this new career of yours. Is it everything you imagined it would be, or more, or what?
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, my wife's probably going to kill me. I'm looking into doing the police reserve for Albany, for Walnut Creek. That's a street cop.
Oh,
Because, I can. And so, I just recently, don't tell my wife, I recently just turned in my applications.
she doesn't know yet. She's gonna find out when
she's
she
gonna
watches
find
this
out.
episode.
I'm in trouble. But yeah, I guess I still want to experience that.
Yeah.
Chase a bad guy.
So the dream isn't done. Like there's still things you want
little
to
bit more.
explore. Yeah. But I have to ask Ted, like how does it feel, going back to your time with the police academy, how does it feel to go from, you're already successful finance guy, business, you own a business, and you're basically comfortable with where you were, and then to all of a sudden start out as a rookie, start out as a guy that is competing with 24-year-olds, right? What does that do to the ego, number one?
Oh boy.
But on the other hand, what did that do for your own personal growth? Imagine starting over at 47 years old. What life-changing lesson does this midlife rookie learn about God's timing that could transform how you see your own dreams? Don't miss the rest of Ted's incredible journey from Wall Street to badge and gun. Scan the QR code on your screen or search Making Changes on Spotify to hear the full episode.